Thank you for the question. I think Rohit has been addressing this in almost every question that is answered. The conditions in America and the West Indies were quite challenging for batters. If you look at the World Cup scores up to this stage, there have been low scoring games, about 110, 120. A lot of teams have folded up under 100. So yes, conditions were challenging. We knew about it. That is the reason we went almost a month ahead to try and prepare in those conditions. We went to St. Vincent, we went to Vapi also before that, if you remember, and we got seaming wickets there because we knew that these are the conditions we would face. So having said that, we scored what most other teams were scoring. We came up against world-class opposition in terms of South Africa, one of the world's best bowling attacks. Bangladesh, one of the world's best seam bowling attacks. So we scored what other teams were scoring. But having said that, the positions that we got into, for example, against South Africa, we were well ahead in the game. So we should have finished that game. In Bangladesh also, against Bangladesh, when we were 77 for 5, we should have finished that game. So there is no question about it that we should have won both those games. There is no question that we should have batted better than we eventually did. Even in the game against Netherlands, which again was a challenging surface. So yes, we should have batted better. We need to put a lot more work in our batting. Most of the surfaces we bat on are flat surfaces, so we don't get that kind of exposure in our preparations. So are we happy with our performance at the World Cup? Yes, we are very proud of what we have done as a unit, batting, bowling, fielding, everything. Could we have done better? Yes, we could have done better. And in the forthcoming months leading up to the one days that start as part of the four-year cycle, a lot of work needs to be put in developing certain skill sets for the batters, which will hold them in good stead, because going forward we are playing in Canada and the USA, where again we are going to get those challenging conditions. So work needs to be put in, but what we have done so far, I think, needs to be appreciated at the same time. It's very difficult for somebody on the outside to judge or make a comment on what actually happened. The equation was pretty simple. We needed 8 runs in the last over. We got a boundary of the 8 or 6. How many did we need? 8 runs. 8, yeah. So we needed eventually 2 runs of the last 2 balls. So Gulshan and Som had got us up to there. You also need to factor in that Bartman was bowling at the other end, who has been South Africa's best bowler in the World Cup. He has a load of experience. Gulshan is a very young player, a huge talent. He's played in the Under-19 World Cups. Leading up to the World Cup, he has been invaluable to the team as an all-rounder. In crunch game, he is, if you remember the West Indies game here, when the West Indies had come, he won us a game hitting McCoy for 2 boundaries in the last over. So he has the capacity to be a finisher. Unfortunately, on the biggest stage, he was not able to deliver. You could put it down to inexperience, you could put it down to nerves, you could put it down to luck. I think Basant addressed the fact that one of the bouncers was above head high. So remember, cricket, especially T20 cricket, is a game of very small margins. Luck, if you say, plays some part in it. So yes, he should have got us through, no question about it. So he will have to live with that until he gets another chance to redeem himself. But I don't think we need to be harsh on him, because he's a very young player. He's, as I said, a huge talent. And unfortunately, he could not do it that day. But I have no question in my mind that in the years to come, he is going to be one of the brightest stars in Nepal cricket.